This is WWE Hall of Famer Tito Santana, and you are watching When It Was Real with noted wrestling historian, author, actor, and wrestling manager Nikita Brezhnikov, and pro wrestling author and podcaster Benny Skella, found only on the Playa Entertainment Network. Arriba!
Well, good evening. Thank you, Tito, and good evening, folks, and welcome to When It Was Real, the show that takes you back in time when professional wrestling was sublime. I am Benny Skella, a.k.a. The Player, a.k.a. Benny the Jet, a.k.a. Sam Muchnick, and the guy next to me, he is the pilot of the Wrestling Wayback Machine. He is the one and only Nikita Brezhnikov. Nikita, how are you, my friend?
Beautiful, Benny. Glad to be here. You make me laugh tonight. That's 2 times. Thinking about when Tito says WWE, the time Nikolai was trying to get the commercial for 24/7. And then when you say pilot, I used to tell people I was a pilot in the police department. They said, yeah, really? What, you a helicopter? I said, no, I'd take big hunks of, or big piles of piles from this table and pile them over there. I was a pilot.
Yeah, pilot over there. All right. Well, let's play some quick bills and then on to our show. Wrestling fans, whether you're in the ring or just stuck in traffic, life can hit harder than a steel chair on a Saturday night. And when it does, you need someone in your corner who knows how to fight back. Enter the Brower Law Firm, laying down legal smackdown since 1973. That's right, over 50 years of grappling with the toughest cases and never tapping out. You don't last that long in the legal game unless you've got the skill, the grit, and the heart of a champion. Walk into Adam Burbrower's office and you'll feel like you're stepping into a Hall of Fame locker room. Posters of Ernie the Cat Ladd and Johnny Rodz on the walls, and tattoos of superstar Billy Graham and Bret the Hitman Hart on his body. Just like Bret was the excellence of execution, Adam Burbrower is the excellence of elocution. Precise, persuasive, and powerful, whether he's in court or cutting a promo in front of the judge. If you've ever been in an accident and need a real legal heavyweight, call Adam Burbrower. He's the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Hit up burbrowerlaw.com and follow Adam on Facebook. And when you call, make sure you tell him that Nikita and the Playa sent you. The Burbrower Law Firm. Legal justice with main event style. All right. Well, Nikita, what are we going to serve up tonight?
But that's 3 times you made me laugh. Listening to the commercial there and talking about when he does a promo before the judge, and it's like, that's what it is. Believe me. I've been in court 1,000 times. My case, watching other kids, like, it's all bullshit.
You've done a promo in a suit, you know?
Yep. Whoever can lie better, that's the side that wins, believe me. And they always try to give you something and me something. So
absolutely.
It's a gimmick. God bless you. Adam, he's a good guy. I just became Facebook.
Very, very good guy. Great sense of humor, too.
Good. Well, you got to have a lawyer. All right. So you say, who are we going to give a good salute to?
Yeah, how about we love everybody all over the world. And trust me, we've been listened to, I think, in about 32 different countries. But it seems like this week we have been charting in the top 100. As of right now, we're number 90 in the United States of America. So here's to all of you. Thank you for your support.
Oh, now, Benny, got to clarify something. This is our 52nd show. Does that mean 1 year anniversary next week?
Let's call it next week. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do it. We'll call it next week.
And a great one I got lined up.
Excellent.
And I'm also going to have, I'll spill a little jelly beans.
Little spoiler there.
Egg. We're going to do a Joe Turco for the Easter egg next week. You're going to love it.
Wow. Where's Mr. Tom Jones will be delighted with that.
Well, much deserved, right? Much deserved.
We love Joe Turco. I mean, I was always excited when I saw him on Saturday mornings. Like when Joe McHugh said the Continental Nobleman, I didn't even know what a Continental Nobleman was. I was just glad to see the guy.
Amen. Hey, to the
All
men.
Right. Well, we will start with the chart. Here we go.
This ought to be good too.
Yeah, this is a nice chart. February 16th, 1981. I made a little notes here. So number one, Celebration by Kool and the Gang. Now, every time we do one of these charts, I learned at least one new thing, sometimes more than one. I did not realize that. I mean, they had so many hits, right? Hollywood Swinger, Get Down on It, Joanna rather, Fresh,
Yeah,
Ladies Night, Too Hot. I mean, you name it. But this was their one and only number one hit.
Yes, and I think that's also adopted by a lot of sports teams. You know, when they have victories.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, number 2, 9 to 5, Dolly Parton, self-explanatory. Blondie at number 3. Now, this was Blondie's third number one hit after Heart Attack and Call Me. But very, very surprisingly, they never hit the top 100 again after 1981. That's hard to believe.
Yeah, but, you know, when she swung for the fences. You know, it's like Frank Howard. You're either going to strike out or you're going to put it out of here. And
Hondo.
Yeah, that's it. Big Hondo.
Oh, man. Yeah, I saw him score from second on a single. It must have been a very long single because, like, he wasn't too swift of foot.
Hell no. It was like a building moving.
But, you know, I always got a kick out of whoever stood next to him at first base because they look like a child.
Well, have you ever seen the picture on Facebook with Freddie Patek standing next to him?
Oh, God. There had to be like a 2-foot difference.
Yeah, the 5'4" Freddie Patek, the shortest guy in the majors and the tallest guy at 6'7".
Wow.
Hondo is like, this is wild.
All right. So number 4, I Love a Rainy Night by Eddie Rabbitt. So this was his only mainstream number one hit, but quite the artist on the country charts. He had 32 consecutive top 10 singles on the country charts. That's pretty damn good.
Hell yeah, man. No matter whatever the chart, you made it. Sing the song, Daddy. You did it.
And he did that great duet. Was it Crystal Gale, Just You and I?
Yeah.
Very nice song.
Yes.
All right. And then REO Speedwagon, who are named after a 1915 truck. I think originally it was a Rio Speedwagon, but they changed it to REO. I guess, I don't know. Just be a little bit different, but this was their first top 50 song. And
hold on a minute now. Chief's brother, Cadillac Sales, got one. They did a show, one of those collector shows, and they were at his barn. He's got a magnificent barn wherever he lives. I'm not going to reveal it. It's well guarded, but yeah, he's got an original Speedwagon. Yeah.
Wow.
And because the guy, it was so funny. The guy made him an offer, and it was just like, boom, silence, you know, and there's like, and then they have like a little, well, you can see where this is going. And it's like, yep, Sal didn't budge. He didn't utter another syllable. So it was like, no, Sal. Nah, you better come up with a lot more zeros, monkey.
I mean, that's how many of those are left? Can't be too many, right?
That's the deal. It's like, you think you're a funny man and all that, but this is no bullshit. So, yep, Sal's got one. I saw it.
Wow.
But I loved REO Speedwagon. Victoria hates them. I'm like, I love that. And Take It on the Run, baby.
Yes, right after that was Take It on the Run. Yeah, hit number 5.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, number 6, we know about Rod Stewart. Number 7, Dan Fogelberg.
Wow.
He had a nice 4-year run. Had a few good hits. Longer, leader of the band.
Yeah, but that same anxiety, my God, that dragged out all the way to February now. Jeez, enough.
Yeah, yep. All right, now this next, I could be wrong, and if anybody can correct me on this or set me straight, John Lennon posthumously has the number 8 and number 9 spots.
Yes.
I don't know of anyone before this who ever had two top 10 hits after they passed away at the same time. Now, I could be wrong.
I tell you what, Jim Croce, I think, did.
I checked. I could not find. There was once. I'll have to double check. You may be right because I think Time in a Bottle and I Got a Name were pretty close to each other in 73.
Well, yeah, but I Got a Name had just been finished like a week before his death. And so, Working at the Car Wash Blues was on that. I Got a Name, of course, was number one. But yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe they didn't hit simultaneously at the same time.
One was on the way down and one was on the way up. I'm going to have to double check that. That's a good research project for me. I do believe now after that, I think maybe Prince achieved it, but nobody. Maybe Croce was the other one. Who knows? Maybe even Buddy. Well, no, Buddy Holly didn't have that many hits. I'll have to check. Good research project. And then number 10, finally, Steve Gennarelli has been, every time I flash up a chart, he goes, "What? No Steely Dan?" Well, finally we got a Steely Dan. Hey, 19.
You know something? Okay, Steve, you hit the nail on the head 6 times, because yes, those guys go all the way back to the early 70s, and it's like reeling in the years and on and on. It's
and
like
Backtrack, wow. And Ricky Don't Lose That Number. Yep.
Yeah. Remember Walt Williams? No Neck. Yes, very good. No Neck. He was dancing. The Yankees were playing the Orioles. He was traded a bunch of times, and they were taking batting practice, and they used to play popular music over the PA, and he was dancing away to Ricky Don't Lose That Number. And it's like, man, I hope he don't get hit in the head with a fly ball. It was entertaining as hell. It was great.
Wow. That is very, very cool. All right, now I have to remove this, and we're going to lose each other here for a minute. Let me
do not adjust your set. The problem is not in your computer.
We'll be back. Here we go. There we are. All right.
Remember the Outer Limits?
Yes.
God, I'd run out of room.
Didn't they have one called the Time Tunnel also?
Yeah. James Darren, and I forget who the other guy was. I don't know. He would have been on TV, but not much of a name. Lee Merriweather was in it, and she sat at the control booth. But yeah, it was okay.
Not quite as good as the Twilight Zone.
No, it was Irwin Allen, and one of my all-time favorites, Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. But hey, and then look at this guy. Okay, Lost in Space. He did a couple other gimmick shows, but then he's the master of disaster with the Poseidon Adventure, Towering Inferno. It's like, you can't beat Irwin Allen. Damn.
Right.
For a while, they laughed at him and said he was a goof, but it's like, he knew what he was doing.
I love watching those old shows like a Twilight Zone, and you'll see so many like future megastars.
Yeah.
Just cutting their teeth and acting on those shows.
Well, Burgess Meredith made the most appearances on Batman as the Penguin and the most appearances on the Twilight Zone.
Wow.
How do you argue with a guy like that? I mean, of Mice and Men and on and on and on, even all the way up to Rocky.
Rocky, yeah, I was going to say that was, final hurrah there.
That man could deliver, and it's like they always tell you don't overact. Except Batman, they all said it. Cesar Romero, him. It's like this is the only time they tell you to do what you're not supposed to do. Go crazy, overact, be nutty, and then they had a ball.
Well, who overacted more than Adam West, though? I mean,
no. Now wait a minute. No.
You don't think so?
I disagree, because that's why even Frank Gorshin said when in the movie he's running with the bomb. It's like when he delivers that line, some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. It's that you had to do it just right. You were either going to be stupid or really low key the other way, but it was like, man, he nailed it. He just had to be, because he got that. Sorry, people. We'll get right back to wrestling in a second.
Eventually.
Doing those Nestle Quick commercials, and somebody saw it, hey, he's pretty much he'd done a few things, the detectives and a couple. He was in a Three Stooges movie. No, Adam West.
Oh, okay.
And they said, you know what? That's who we need. Somebody with that dry delivery, tongue in cheek, play it serious, but be stupid campy. Because as kids, we were dying 1,000 deaths thinking Batman's dying, but yet, people at home, the adults are laughing their ass off at some of the lines that are delivered. It was wild.
I have very fond memories as a child. I believe they were on primetime 2 nights in a row every week.
Yep, they had the cliffhanger, the first season and the second season. Yep. His picture's right there. Him, Vince McMahon, Chief, and Nikolai.
Those were the days.
Think that it can't happen to you. Don't give up, as we've said before.
Never give up. As Bob Backlund would say, never capitulate.
Hey, never capitulate. That's good. We're going to talk about that book, too, with this show tonight.
Great book. All right. Well, we are going to cover February 16th, 1981 from the Garden. Great card.
I said this on my Facebook page to somebody the other day. I said, and because they said, wow, look at that card. And it's like, to me, this was the turning point where, because they didn't have anything in January. This was the first card of the year. December 29th of 80 was they had two in 1980. The night Lennon was killed, December the 8th, and then the 29th. But scheduling just didn't work out. But this, to me, was like, okay, you had the NWA, they were hot. The AWA, they were hot. But the World Wrestling Federation, they dropped the other W long before this. They established themselves as it. And I'll tell you, here's a good example. When Sylvester Stallone found Hulk Hogan, he found him on either Madison Square Garden Network or the USA Network, which was owned by Madison Square Garden. And it's like, look at this fucking guy. Wow. They didn't find him in the AWA or the NWA. They found him through New York. And it was like, I think this show was the beginning of the other one. Yeah, because I've said that before, in 1975, they made their mark. That was it. They were established as major league. They were not going anywhere. But this show, this February 6th, it was President's Day in 1981. Because I remember Howard giving the pitch on the December 29th card. It's going to be a gala event for President's Day with a holiday super card. And it was like, yeah, this certainly was a super card. So let's ring the bell, Betty. Ring that bell. The opening match was Amigo Johnny Rodz. Boy, we can't say his name enough, can we?
He was always there.
As Yoshiaki Yatsu, or as they were billing him, the Great
Yatsu. That's a little bit easier to say anyway.
Yes, but I tell you what was wild. Now, Johnny had on, he must have had an elbow injury. He was wrapped really, really heavy on his right elbow. But these guys were wrestling. I don't think that Yatsu was that smart yet to the business on what was happening.
He was relatively new into the wrestling in general.
This was only his second appearance in the Garden, and they were keeping him undefeated because he would go on and on a little bit. And in fact, later that year in May, he would team with Tatsumi Fujinami, who could not be junior anymore. He was getting too heavy, against the Moondogs when they became champions. But it's like in this match, Johnny took him to school. Didn't hurt him, but he certainly showed the kid, this is what we do, and this is how we do it. And it was wild because he took him by the hair. He's trying to give him a buckle, right? And he's like trying to fight it. It's like, just fucking relax, kid, kaboom. But he hit it, and it was like, oh, man. Because when he was trying to make his comeback, his kicks looked like shit. He was trying to deliver a shot and not be stiff, but it was like, it's too late. You look like an old woman. Don't do that. You're going to have to do a little bit more. You didn't see him on television much. He was only usually in the Garden.
Right. Yeah, I don't remember him much on TV at all.
No. And the other arenas, he was there at the big Thanksgiving show of 82. But, of course, that's long after this. But it's like, for whatever reason. But see, then again, I guess, and Japan wasn't there. All Japan, Inoki's people weren't like simulcasting. They only do the holiday show, but it's like, I guess they got tapes. Maybe they did it as a favor. Senior said, okay, we'll help get this guy over for you in Japan. We'll send you the tape of the match. And then, you can show it there and whatever it is you're going to do. But the finish came with, it was a sunset flip. And he got Amigo down 11 minutes, 12 seconds. But it did, and Vince brought this up. It's like, I don't know about that, Mr. Referee. I think Rodz may have got his shoulder up. And when they showed it on the replay, he did have the shoulder up off the mat, but it added to the drama. It was well done. Very good opening match for that night.
I was listening to another podcast this week, and they referred to Johnny Rodz as the measuring stick because they were talking about Gino Hernandez. And when Gino came in, who did he get paired with? Was with Amigo.
Yeah. Well, he's another one of those didn't really get past the TV taping, right?
Well, Gino, from what another Amigo, Davey O'Hannon, told me, he came in kind of cocky and arrogant, and he kind of rubbed a lot of the guys the wrong way. And I think Johnny took it a little bit personal, because Johnny was tight with all the guys in the locker room. And Gino went over, but I think he was a little bit sore the next day.
Hey, to the man, you got it.
Yes, sir.
So a good opener. Way to get the bell rung and people lathered up. The second match was kind of wild. Frank Savage, I don't know how this happened, but he's in there with the Hangman. Neil Guay, wonderful guy. He keeps
couldn't even find a picture of Savage. Yeah,
I poke him back. Nice guy, but misused. I mean, he was a big son of a bitch, without a doubt. And he worked well with Andre because they could both speak French fluidly, of course, with Hangman. But Frank Savage, even Vince said this is his debut tonight in Madison Square Garden. It's like, I don't know, was everybody else busy, or it just didn't make sense? But okay, Frank Savage gets a little rub, and Vince said, he made a good accounting of himself for a while there. Did you see this one, Benny?
No, this one I did not see. The first two, I guess, I did not see. I think all the rest. No, I didn't see ST and Scicluna as well, but all the rest I did see.
Oh, no, that's great. That's coming next. But 10 minutes, 58 seconds. He got some, it was a little bit of back and forth in the beginning, but then Savage is coming off the ropes and kapow. Hangman hits him with an elbow. Almost took his head off. And then he gave him the choke slam on the top rope. He dragged him out, and then he covered him, and he got the pin at 10 minutes, 58 seconds. And, good match. He worked out the Hangman a little bit. At this point, the Hangman wasn't going to be around much longer. I believe Backlund was going to beat him on television, and then Andre. But we saw him at the Civic Center teaming with Hogan against Tony Garea and Rick Martel. And it was a good match and a good pairing, but I don't know. I guess he just wasn't destined to get above the mid-card.
Now, he had come in the summer before, right, Nikita?
Yeah, without a doubt.
And before that, he was in the AWA. He was Super Destroyer Mark III.
Oh, God, another mask. Oh.
And he feuded with Super Destroyer Mark II, who we're going to see later in the card against Pedro. It was Sergeant Slaughter.
Sergeant Slaughter. I guess that would have been a nice gimmick, having the two destroyers go at it.
Right.
But, oh, God, any of them will tell you wearing that mask was like a curse. It was like marrying a crazy woman. You can't wait till it's over.
I have to thank the Hangman because I'm friends with him on Facebook. And you know how I promote my Benny the Jet Sunday radio show. I preview one of my songs.
Sure, you should.
And more often than not, because you can see who looked at it, I will see Neil Guay.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so thank you, Hangman. Thank you for listening.
Hey, and you just stop the presses a minute. You just reminded me of something. I fall asleep at the switch again. But here it is. Before we go any further, I mean, sit down in the chair and not end up on the floor. When it was real, folks, this is what it's all about. You can get it from crowbarpress.com for $20 or on Amazon, the Kindle version for $10. But everything, no, we stopped at 1979. It goes from 70 to 79. Here we go all the way to 83. But it's like, look, for $20, geez, I just went to McDonald's this morning to get a breakfast that was $15. If I got something for her too, I was on my way to a job. If it would definitely have been $40 at least.
I spent $22 at Grandma Sally's this morning, Nikita. So
there you go.
$20 is a great investment for a 10-year history of the WWF.
And you hold it in your hands. See, that's like, excuse me again, everybody. I deviate a little bit here, but everybody wants to talk about, everything is on the net with these. Hold on a minute. Let me adjust here before I lose the microphone. Everything you just movies, wrestling, everything is on the internet now. You don't need to have a disc or anything. No, I want my disc. I want it in my hand. I want to pick it up when I play it. I got backup copies for everything. I'm a mental case. I'm like Sheldon from Big Bang. So it's like, no, I want it. And I want the bells and whistles. I like the box art. I like all of that stuff.
Nope. I mean, I was such a snob in college. I wouldn't even buy a used textbook. I had to buy a brand new one because I was going to keep it. And I wanted it in good shape.
Well, people drive you nuts. It's like they nickel and dime on some things, but yet they go make somebody else rich with bullshit. It's like, let's go to Paris or let's go to Hawaii. And it's like, why? After it's over with and you shit the meals out and you slept off of the plane ride, is like, what do you got? Memories? What the hell?
Memories, yeah.
Excuse me, everybody. I'm not a traveler. I've traveled too much in my lifetime. And unless it's for wrestling, or acting, if I don't have to go anywhere, I ain't fucking going anywhere. And believe me, it's battle royal here almost nightly.
Yep.
But that's the joy of it. All right, match number 3. I'm sorry you missed it, Benny. Baron Mikel Scicluna versus SD Jones, one of my all-time favorite matches. And SD was returning, as Vince mentioned. He came in at 239. So he dropped a little bit of weight this time, whereas the last time he returned, he bulked up. And Vince referred to Scicluna as a true warhorse in professional wrestling. And my God, that is a very apt and a very good compliment to the Baron. He was like a warhorse. No question.
And who knows how correct this is, but per WrestlingData.com, these guys met 173 times. And SD was 81 wins, 36 losses, I think 19 draws, and 37 they had no outcome. So SD didn't do too bad.
Beautiful. Well, you can tell the losses were earlier on, and then it got to the point. Now, like right now, 1981, they were trying to get him over because as the year moves along, and believe me, we're going to try to cover as much as possible. We're not going anywhere as long as you keep tuning in and giving us the likes. He got a mini push. He teamed with Tony Garea and Rick Martel in some 6-man matches. That was nice. But they just, I don't know. They wouldn't let him go. But so far, because I've said this before and I'll say it one more time. Chief went to Vince and said, you ought to make him tag team champions with Tony Atlas.
Yeah.
He really liked this.
We would have loved that.
Hell yeah. No complaints about Rocky Johnson. Great wrestler. But Rocky was over solid as a single. He didn't need to be a tag champion. But, they played the whole thing, the first black tag team champions, and it's like, yeah, that's great. That's an honor. But they could have done it with SD, even though SD was Caribbean and from the East Indies or where he was from.
Antigua, right? Was it? I think he was from. Yeah,
it would count. It would have been fine, but whatever the mindset, it's what they did.
I've probably seen at least 20 of their matches, and I could see 100 more and never be bored. They were always good matches.
Now, which one?
SD and Scicluna.
SD and Scicluna, gotcha. Okay, because real quick, SD and Tony Atlas, and they came close to beating Fuji and Saito at the Spectrum later this 1981 was November 14th, and then it was one of the classic endings. Tony's caught, and they're in there. SD's, I'll fight him, and then they're murdering him as Tony comes back with the head wrapping, and they had it. Even if they would have gave it to him for a month, like Tanaka or like Chief and Sonny King, they just barely made a month, and it's like, but they didn't ask us. During this match with Scicluna and SD, Vince said Scicluna with a size 17, and I believe every word of it. Can you imagine?
He was a big man.
Because he said SD's taking some kicks to the head with that size 17. They spent a lot of time with a trap hold, digging into the trapezius muscles in the neck. Scicluna was, digging into SD. But then they came up, and then at 8 minutes, 44 seconds, they got the flying body press and a pin. No, he didn't hook the leg. He just covered the Baron coming off the ropes, and you got the 3 count. So it was good. Well done. Hey, never seen a bad match between those two.
Never.
Whether they opened it second or third of the night, man, you're happy to see those two walk down the aisle.
I was truly disappointed when I could not. I mean, I found other matches of theirs. I just could not find that match.
No music, neither. You didn't need any music. You just need to see, here they come. And it's like, ah-hoo, everybody's happy. 4th match of the night. I hope you saw this one. Pedro and Sergeant Slaughter.
Oh, my God. Did I see? I saw it 3 times.
Isn't it something, Benny?
Oh, my God.
I mean, it's like unbelievable. Now, before that match, Howard made an announcement. WNJU, Channel 47, Saturdays at 4:30, Friday nights at 11. And it's like, wow, New York, you lucky bastards. You really had a lot of wrestling to watch. And then WOR still Saturdays at midnight. So that was really great. But it was weird. Did you notice before the match that all the referees came out and sat at ringside? Jack Lotz had this match, but then it was Hank Terranova, Terry Terranova's brother. He came out and he took a seat, and we'll get to that, not this match, but right a little bit after that, why that happened. And this was Sergeant Slaughter. It was the Cobra Clutch Challenge had begun, as we had previously covered, February the 3rd taping, which they would have had by now the 2nd hour, the previous Saturday. The big attack with Patterson wouldn't happen until today, the 24th. In 1981, though, so it hadn't occurred yet, but he was hot. He was over. The signs, the people screaming Gomer, and the Sarge is selling it like crazy. It's like, shut up, pointing at people in the audience. Stop that Gomer chant.
And McMahon sold it big time. The crowd was torturing him, calling him Gomer.
Benny, something that easy. I mean, they played it like you would a Stradivarius for about 5, almost 7 minutes. And it just fit. It was beautiful. But Pedro almost got the wizard. He was pissed that
I was going to ask you about that. It was the closest I ever saw to him getting clocked.
Yeah, he had it. He almost had it. He almost grabbed him, but it was damn close. But when they finally got the match started, I mean, I don't think you could put 2 better people together. Pete, our buddy Pete, said this was what he wanted to see. And I said, Pete, me too. Not to take anything away from Backlund and Hansen, but yes, the way Slaughter was on fire and Pedro, put Pedro in there with any big bastard, and he's going to give you a match and a half. Believe me. And he did not fail to deliver. What did you notice from it, Benny? What stood out in your mind?
Just, I mean, the crowd reaction, and I loved the way Pedro. I mean, he's so big time. That front face lock that Slaughter clamped on him. I mean, how long did that last? 4 or 5 minutes?
Yes.
Pedro's on the mat, and I didn't hear anybody yell boring. No. It worked. It was part of the story they were telling. And I mean, Pedro took a lot of punishment in this match.
And like Tito, I always say it, Tito and Pedro are two of the best at selling. And when they make the comeback, but I got to give Pedro the nod on the comeback. He makes the building rattle, because when he's had enough. But before we get to he had enough, when he actually Slaughter took him to the ropes and then knocked him to the floor. And, Pedro's on the outside, and then Slaughter, boom, slamming Pedro down against the rail. But Slaughter got on the top rope like he was going to jump. And it's like, he did a hell of a high wire act up there for a big man.
Yes.
I was
surprised to see that.
Yeah, he maintained his balance. It's not like, Slaughter just got up there for 2 seconds and then hopped off. He was up there. I know people talk about The Undertaker, and Don Jardine used to walk the top rope.
Spoiler, yes, sir.
With the claw on somebody. That's completely fucking wild, crazy to maintain your balance while you got a grip on somebody's head. Hopefully they're walking with you. Otherwise, you're both going to take a fall. But it's like, man, that's impressive as shit. So, Slaughter's on the top rope. And then it's funny, Pedro moved the ref aside. Slaughter got the brass knuckles out. And then Slaughter goes to hit him, and Pedro blocks it, and they drop. And it's like, oh, son of a bitch. Pedro he moves the ref aside. He didn't hit him, but it's like, then Pedro picked it up, and Slaughter runs for the high hills. He's getting the hell out of there. Right away, they ring the bell. They went 22 minutes and 46 seconds. A hell of a long, but it's the semifinal, right? Another title match where some people like to say they had to pad the card for Backlund. No, they didn't. It was just Pedro with the Intercontinental belt. I still say I think he was a better Intercontinental champion than heavyweight champion, and I always loved him and followed him as both, but it had a lot of substance, especially with Slaughter at this point in time. And, okay, a DQ loss, no big deal, especially losing it that way. You dropped a pair of brass knuckles, Heat like July in New York City on a hot cement concrete jungle. So that was well done.
I mean, this one on a scale of like 0 to 5 stars, I'd probably give this a 5 stars, or at least 4.89. I mean, as close to 5 stars as you could get. This match had everything for me.
Oh yes, without a doubt. And again, with that time period, now see, if Slaughter hadn't had that Cobra clutch, I think he would have been faded off into the background. Did a good job, but that Cobra clutch just put a crown on his head, and that was it. It took him to superstardom, from being a star to a superstar. Because when he comes back in '83, after he tore up the Carolinas, he and Don Carnoodle as a team, and Jim Nelson, and they were just like, wow. But by the time he got back, Crusher Khrushchev, all the Repo Man, all that stuff, right? Holy mackerel! You talk about false face on Batman, man. That guy had a million characters.
He had a lot of gimmicks.
Hey, he survived. What the hell?
Oh, yeah.
The next match, they wanted to give you a little bit of settle before they brought the main event out. Hogan against Rick McGraw. I mean, even Vince said it's like a David versus Goliath situation. And Hogan had just gotten back from a tour of Japan. He had on black trunks with Japanese writing, and he was wearing the armband. And Vince made reference to it he said he's calling it the Hogan Hammer. Now, Fred Blassie, who we will see later on the show, another charge of Fred Blassie's, Stan Hansen uses a similar hold called the lariat. Now, that was really fucking wild to let two guys at the same time, and they're both huge for the company, using the same finish, because basically that's what it was. But he didn't beat McGraw with that. Instead, well, it was a quick match, 1 minute, 31 seconds. Did you see it, Benny?
I did, and what surprised me was that he did use the leg drop, but he didn't use it as a finisher.
No, two big slams with the buckle, and then or two slams, and then the buckle. He comes out. He did hit him with the Hogan Hammer, but when he pinned him, Vince brought it out that he had pulled the tights, and it's like, well, he's a heel, but it's like, I mean, that's overkill. You certainly didn't.
I wondered why he said that, because it was a squash match. I mean, the only offense McGraw really got was when Hogan turned his back at the beginning, and McGraw drop kicked him, and he got a couple of punches in the corner, but that was really it.
Always liked Rick McGraw, especially at this time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But he was too muscle bound. His punches looked like old lady. I mean, it's like he just, as they always took the rap through the years, weightlifters, they said they can't clap their own hands. Because you look at Rick McGraw, and it's true. Now, Hogan he had a lot more dexterity, even though he was a huge bodybuilder. Ken Patera as well. Patera hit you with a fist, you're going to go see the promised land. But Rick McGraw was like too bulked. He couldn't really do much of a swing on you. So, yeah, 1 minute, 31 seconds. That may be where Sylvester Stallone saw him. Could have been in that match. You never know. All we know is he watched Hogan on cable, saw him wrestling in the Garden, and it's like, somebody get a hold of that guy. Man, we need to bring him in. And boy, did it change Hogan's life. So the sixth match of the night was the biggie. Stan Hansen, the Lariat, is back to take on World Wrestling Federation champion Bob Backlund. And it was wild. Hansen's out in the ring. The only time Freddie came out with all of his people, because Vince said, wow, Freddie Blassie, well, he has the Hangman, he's got Hulk Hogan, Hansen, and then he would have yet another one later, Killer Khan. It's like, but he only came out with Hansen. And they did make Hansen wait, without a doubt. And Vince talked about, in this, actually, he brought it up here again, just to let you, the viewers, know on the cable network that, okay, he's got the Lariat, Hogan's got the Hogan Hammer, but, two different things here. I guess it kind of pissed them off, the company, a little bit. It's like, I don't know why the hell Hogan's got to bring that, but I guess it made sense. They had in the back of their mind, they knew Hansen wasn't going to last long. He would be gone by May. He made a couple appearances in Baltimore against Backlund. The Spectrum, he never wrestled Backlund. He did wrestle Bruno, I believe, in Pittsburgh and Boston. But in Philadelphia, he wrestled Pedro. And that's a very good match. And then Tony Garea. So he made two shots in the Philadelphia. But, it was kind of weird. And Backlund in his book said, Hansen, he had an attitude. He really had a hell of an attitude. But as soon as Backlund hit the ring, they went right at it. There was no bullshit. And Backlund nailed him with the belt. I think it was a little stiff, too. And I don't think it was by accident. So when Backlund threw his jacket, it went into the crowd. And right away, you saw the policeman. They went over, and it's like,
I noticed that. It's like, yeah, I'm thinking, did somebody get a lucky souvenir? But then I saw
holy shit. That wasn't like a superstar Billy Graham throwing something to the crowd. It was like
his $300 leather cap.
Yeah, he just kind of flung that sucker, and it got airborne, and it traveled a little bit further than you wanted. And yeah, can you imagine that? I'd be running for down the aisle. You'd have to catch me.
That's right.
So they just went at it. I mean, hammer and tong, back and forth. When Hansen got the arm bar on Backlund, and he had a big mouth. I got a big mouth, a booming voice. And when Hansen hollered, ask him if he gives up. And Backlund's like, no, he won't give up. And when he'd give that, I guess that hook 'em horns from, where did he go? Texas University. Hey! When he give that, it's like, holy shit, the whole fucking building's vibrating. Make your eardrums burst. Backlund had a hell of a pile driver that he put on Hansen. He sold it well, too.
Oh, yeah, and I have a note. He did that. Backlund had this move. I guess it was called a double arm underhook. Kind of like he grabbed both arms and he kind of just went backwards. I mean, that takes a lot of strength and a lot of coordination.
The double chicken wing suplex. Yes. Yes. And Hansen, I think that hurt. I really do.
That had to hurt.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way. Okay. If you ever watch, if you hear boom, okay, the feet hit first, it's easier to take. Doesn't mean it's not going to be effective and hurt you. But when you hear kaboom, it's like, oh, fuck. There was nothing to break the fall. The spine and the back took it, and the ass, that's it. So, yeah, that was a tough one to do any maneuvering on. So then Backlund's on the apron, and Hansen gives him a punch to the head, and down he goes and kicks to the head. Next thing you know, Backlund's cut. Beautiful. Why not? He's in there with the man that broke Bruno Sammartino's neck.
Yeah.
And Bruno was still in good graces with the company. They didn't elaborate on that. It was kind of weird. You would think that would be a big selling point and say the man that broke Bruno Sammartino's neck. Hansen never said it in the promos I saw in Baltimore. I guess they kind of just said, let that go. We want to center on Backlund. I think it would have helped, but like I always say, they didn't ask me. So the ref checks it out, and then Hansen kicked him aside. Not like a kick to the gut where you'd get a DQ out of it, but he just kicked him aside. You're like, get the fuck out of the way. Hey, he's going after the belt. He's working on Backlund. And when Backlund was on the outside bleeding, Hansen's like, get him back in here. I want him in the ring. I said, you don't want to count out. He wants to pin him. Well, Backlund came back in, and then here they go. Kaboom, kaboom. They're battling. Next thing you know, Hansen's on the outside. He gets rammed. He's cut. They're both bloody. And it's like they just got, as Lou Super used to say, they went hog wild. He was a wild nut. I mean, almost a little demented, Lou Super. I love to watch him because you never know what the hell he was going to come up with. But they were just battling, and then the referee's getting shoved aside. And then instead of having the dressing room come to the rescue, referees get in there. Every referee on the card, and it's like, really? You think they're going to hold these two wild men back? They want to tear each other's head off? And Vince even made mention. He said, I don't know if Hansen's going to get a return match if he keeps shoving these referees around like
yes, I heard that. Yes.
I mean, they were taking some tumbles. It looked like a acrobatic act, actually. And I mean, Hansen, it wasn't, because Hansen's throwing them. And like Gilberto Roman, especially the canned ham, he would tumble 2 extra times, I think. But he definitely was taking a ride on the Reading Railroad, believe me. So it was a good finish and appropriate. And I don't think I gave you the time on that one. But the time of the fall was 22 minutes. Oh, no, wait a minute. That was Pedro. This one, where the hell did Backlund go?
I got 18:22. I don't know.
18:22. That's it. Yeah. So they gave you a good 18 minutes, almost.
Well, and then there was at least another 4 or 5 minutes after the match, the schmaz.
Oh, with all of that going on with the referees, and you could see Backlund say, motherfucker, he wanted to go get him, and he's bloody, and applaud, because Backlund's showing he's a tough champion. Killer Khan against Dominic DeNucci comes up next. Did you see that one, Benny?
Absolutely.
I loved it. I loved our old buddy Dominic. And, you know, Khan, one of the luckiest bastards ever in wrestling. Because I think he was just about ready to do sayonara. Okay. He had his run with Backlund all over the place. The month before, well, actually December, when he wrestled Backlund, everybody always said it was a 3 count. John Stanley fucked up because even Vince said, "Whoa, I don't know, Mr. Referee." Because Khan's looking, he's like, "Ah!" He's slapping his face like, "Fuck, I pinned him." But they said, "No, 2." But, you know, Khan was, I think, going to just about be done. He was going to have a couple of matches he had Baltimore February 7th, and then April 18th, he would wrestle Backlund at the Spectrum and then the Capitol Center. So they were going to have a Texas Death Match return in May, the 23rd, but the Andre angle, it hadn't happened yet. I believe it was May 5th where he got the broken ankle up in Rochester. And they were it didn't happen there. As the story goes, we'll talk about that later. But Khan was like, unpack your bags. You're not going anywhere. Your bank account is about to overfloweth.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to make some good money because you're going to go to war with the giant. And it was like Andre had, just before it happened, was finishing up with Hogan in some good bloody matches. But it was like, you know, if that hadn't happened, where actually Andre was pinning Hogan in a couple of places, I believe that, you know, maybe Hogan would have been revived and they give him credit for the ankle, but it was perfect with Khan because they said it was the dive off the top rope and it crushed Andre's ankle. But with Dominic for the night, he caught him with a good sidekick. I mean, damn, Sam. And Vince even mentioned he used to be a former sumo wrestler, Killer Khan. You got to give him all the credit in the world. Osawa was his name. And I got to laugh. He had a restaurant in Japan when he retired. And it was a nice picture of him with Stan Hansen at his restaurant. And he aged very well. It looked well. He looked good. But he was on his way to the restaurant one morning and he knocked over a gal on a bicycle in Japan. And the police come to his restaurant and they're like, Killer Khan, you know, too bad for you, lady. You know, that was it. No charges. Killer Khan got the star treatment. I said, well, you know what? Like Nikolai used to say, nobody perfect. You have to broke some eggs to make omelet.
That's right.
I love it. She didn't get hurt or anything like that. So, just, you know, save your cards and letters. Don't send the hate mail. Killer Khan was all right. So he gave Dominic the reverse slam, and because Dominic got the airplane spin, but then Khan was able to grab the ropes, and then he got the knee drop off the second rope, and 7 minutes, 46 seconds. Dominic is pinned. We're sorry to say it, but a great company man, Dominic DeNucci.
Well, he was, I think he had just turned 49, and he looked pretty good for 49.
Damn. Yeah, Dominic was, hey, look, Nikolai got in there with him. I was so thrilled a couple of times. Sorry, people, I'm going to blow my horn for a little bit, as Chief used to say, at Steubenville, Ohio, at the St. John Arena. It's like, wow, that's a famous fucking building. That's first time I met Dominic, and let me tell you something. I know he was in his 60s, and he could hit, and he didn't mean to, but man, he let it fly. And then we got a match at the stadium where Bruno was the referee, and this is why I want to kiss George Napolitano. George got the photos, me with Bruno giving me the shit, and Bruno nailed me, and it's like, oh, George, it's not that he's nasty, but George, our good buddy Mitch Seinfeld said, he's got millions. He don't know where the fuck anything is. He can't find it. But I said, you did me the greatest favor. You put it in the magazine, George, because one day I'm sitting in the locker room and somebody comes up, look at this, Nikita, look at this. And it's like, there's you and Bruno. I'm like, yeah, the fuck? Let me see it. I'm like, holy shit, man, you talk about.
Oh my God, that's.
I don't care who could have walked in naked. I'd have said, get out of the way. I got this magazine.
Look at my picture of Bruno. Yeah.
That's it. Oh, man, I was so happy. So, yeah, Dominic did a good job. So, before the final match of the night, Howard gives the pitch for March 16th. And just see what happens. Every day in February matches March. So, it's going to be the 16th. Yeah. And here is the card. The Bulldog Brower. And Vince said, there's a name out of the past. The rate match, Tony Garea. Tony's still tag champion, popular. The Hangman to meet Rick Martel. And people, I'm telling you this because we will cover this next month. Pedro Morales, who scored an impressive victory tonight to take on one of the most dangerous men in the world of wrestling today, the 300-pounder Moondog King. And it was kind of like people didn't know how to react to that. But it's a hell of a match. And the Moondogs are coming up next in a 6-man, but they are starting to develop. And I really believe this coming up 6-man match we're going to talk about helped develop them. It's like, I really don't know that the plans were to put the belts on them. Because for a while there, they were like a goofy cartoon gimmick, but lethal. But then all of a sudden, they're gelling. They're a hell of a fucking team.
Yeah, they're a good team.
And it's like, okay. So then Moondog Rex to take on Rick McGraw. Oh boy, poor McGraw, he ain't suffered enough. And in the main event, Bob Backlund to take on, in the return match, Stan Hansen. And the people were happy. But then Howard, in his wonderful way, said, but that is not all. Hulk Hogan, who scored an impressive victory over Rick McGraw, will meet in this ring 4 weeks from tonight, Mr. USA Tony Atlas. And the place erupted. Great, because they had a little to do on television. Did you see the intro? Did you see the announcement?
No, I had to watch the rematch separately. So yeah, I didn't get to hear the announcement for the following month.
And then Howard says, and to put the icing on the cake, so to speak, March 16th, Sergeant Slaughter, the master of the Cobra Clutch, will face Andre the Giant. And man, if the building wasn't already rattling, it rattled after that. It was like, holy shit. Are you kidding me? Wow. We fucking wow. What a card. This is why I'm saying February 16th, they were on their way to the moon. And March 16th was a great follow-up. So the last match of the night was a 6-man tag, the Moondogs and Lou Albano. And Lou looked like a Moondog. He came in with torn-up jeans. He had on that tunic, but he looked goofy against Pat Patterson, Tony Garea, and Rick Martel. And it was just a wild match. It started, of course, how the fuck are you going to control this? It started, look, between the heat with Lou and Pat Patterson, and the Moondogs had wrestled Tony and Rick December the 29th. Tony actually got cut. They hit him with the bone. How many times you see Tony Garea bleed?
Not very often. No.
And it's like, Tony, he did it that night. So it just was like, Pat ended up chasing after Lou and King on the outside. Rex is left in the ring. And Rick Martel, 51 seconds, gets a flying body press and a pin. And it's like, holy shit, here we go. We're off and running already. So, okay, they actually Pat got the figure 4 on Rex. And, of course, here comes King and Lou in there to break it up. But that was tough because that was they were both big men. Of course, King was bigger, but Rex was 300 pounds. To put the figure 4 on somebody with those size legs, that was tough to do, but Pat got it done. Well, they went to work on Rick Martel, and I think they fucking hurt his back a little because they were giving him a couple of bad knee drops. and King gave him a couple. Like he got whipped into him, and King nailed him as he came into the ropes, and you could see Rick, he just went right for his back, and then a follow-up backbreaker over the knee, and they got the 3 count, 4 minutes, 2 seconds. Lou comes in, and the finish of the match, even Gilberto Roman got knocked down yet again because they didn't know what the fuck was happening. It was so much activity. He's lucky he didn't get mauled. And then Pat nailed Lou with a drop kick. Lou goes out of the ring. When do you see Lou Albano take a drop kick? And then they knocked the other Moondogs out of the ring, and they all just kept going. And the ref,
they just kept going.
Yeah, it's like, forget it. 9 minutes, 47 seconds. And that was the night's festivities. And man, oh man, Vince McMahon said, if you enjoyed it tonight, join us March 16th. Come down and see it live. You've never seen anything like this spectacle called professional wrestling. And boy, he was right.
So, Nikita, what would a general admission to that show have cost?
I have the ticket prices. They weren't outrageous. I believe ringside was around $7, and I think general. Okay, I go by Civic Center prices. It wasn't like that crazy. It probably was our general admission. You're talking not like a middle concourse, but upper concourse kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like around $5.50.
You're talking today's equivalent, $18-20.
Yeah, would not break the bank at all.
No, to see a card like that.
Somebody recently brought that up on Facebook or YouTube, and they said Vince McMahon would never go for these kind of prices that they're charging because he knew keep it affordable.
Blue collar all the way.
The blue collar, the regular guy is coming, and they're going to bring the family. These prices today, it's like you're mental. There's no way. As much as I love it still, I don't think I would cough up that kind of money. I'm sorry.
I absolutely would not.
No. That's what drove me away from football, baseball. Actually, it was the strikes that did that. The strike of
I'll
72.
I'll go see indie wrestling, and I'll go see Florida State League baseball.
My God, the minors.
Yeah.
Yes. In 72, I gave him a pass because I was still a young punk. And it's like, okay, I was still in love with the game. But by 81, that strike, I'm working for the police department. And it's like, really? You guys aren't happy playing ball? And you're going to lock? Well, they didn't get locked out. They just didn't come to the camps. And it's like, forget it. I'm done. Love the game. Still love it till this day, but wouldn't pay those prices. But then I got lucky. I got a lot of assignments, working overtime at Memorial Stadium, Camden Yards. I was in the dugout and the bullpens, and it was like, oh my God. Now for that, maybe I'd pay you a couple $100, but they were paying me good money to be there. That's for another show because that's a long-winded lot of stories. Okay, for the Easter egg, and Easter's coming. Ash Wednesday was last week, and Easter's early this year, April 5th. So we're going to go back to the Philadelphia Spectrum, February 19th of 1983, and it was a 10-man tag team riot. On one side, Don Morocco was the team captain of Mr. Fuji, Playboy Buddy Rose, Superstar, and Ray Stevens. Superstar Billy Graham was still hanging on. And they were going to go against Andre, Superfly Snuka, Rocky Johnson, Pedro, who had just, remember, dropped the month before the Intercontinental title on the 22nd of January to Morocco, and Sal Balomo. Oh, those promos were priceless. This guy right here, Morocco, I'm telling you, I don't think he gets the credit he deserves. He was a genius. He was a great man on the mic, a great man in the ring. But when they were talking about, he's like, Sal Balomo, are you Sal Balomo, the man with the pipe cleaters hanging from his arm, Mr. Potato, Mr. Potato. And it's like, oh my God, even Vince had to turn away. He was getting ready to lose it. Well, let me tell you something. That was kind of like a fortune teller, because what was going to happen. But as the heels were all just about in the ring and the faces were coming in, Gary Capetta was announcing the March 19th card. And it was kind of wild how they ignored it when their names were mentioned. And they also mentioned the curfew had been waived for that night. The main event was Backlund against Stud, which was a dud. It was a stinker. The Strongbows against the Samoans was a hell of a tag match. We may cover that another time. But what I did notice, Superstar was starting to lose his muscle tone. It was very obvious in this match. Did you see the match, Benny?
I did. Yes, I sure did.
Great. He did start to look a little famished, I wouldn't fight him, but
definitely not the same Billy Graham, though.
No. When Snuka was announced, he brought the house down, and you could tell he was going to be doing something high flying that night, because he had elbow and knee pads on. They had yellow, like in the center, with like fortified. But that was because Monsoon had mentioned that, or he would come to mention it later, that somebody was pushing that new kind of style of ring gear. I don't know. Didn't seem to last. Well, they started off trying to hide the salt. Fuji's passing it to Buddy Rose. He passed it to Superstar. Then it ended up with Putski. And what I thought was really wild, Snuka, when he got in the ring with Morocco. Now, this is before the big angle that they would run in May when it would start on television. But to see those two, you just knew this is magic. This is going to be like Snuka hitting with the headbutt, and then they locked up, but it's like, they didn't have a whole lot of time to spend in this kind of a match. It was just so much chaos, but it was sort of organized chaos. But it's like, it's going to happen. These two have to meet. But what I really liked, when Andre got tagged and come in, he throws Morocco to the ropes, and Andre gets down like a football player in a football stance, and Morocco runs into his ass. It just about cuts him in half. I mean, I don't think he was selling it. I think it fucking took the wind out of Morocco. It's like, holy shit. And it brought the house down, because you could see the people at ringside. They were almost rolling in the aisles. They loved it. And it's things like that I mean, we lived for those moments. It was easy to play us like a fucking Stradivarius, because we wanted you to. We were happy. It was like a woman in love. You bring her roses, you take her to dinner, she's happy. We were there. It's like, just entertain us, and they did it. So there you go. You got Andre got a 3-way headbutt when Buddy Rose, Ray Stevens, and Fuji. I mean, it looked like that fucking hurt too. And it's like the middleman, I think, was Stevens. And it's like, holy shit. Great stuff all the way around. The 3-way headbutt. Then Superstar took Andre down with the chops. Andre sold for him.
He did, yeah.
Old times, Andre looked like he was ready for the hospital. He gave him the thrust and then the chop. It's like, very good. Nice of you, Andre, to help put Superstar over. Palomo comes in, gives the airplane spin to Morocco. Then he gives the airplane spin to Buddy Rose. Andre comes in, headbutts Morocco, throws him into the ropes, and he gives him the big foot. And Morocco gets caught in the ropes. He used to do that a lot. I don't know. Those ropes were so tight. They're basically like cables. They're not really ropes. They're cables. And I mean, you could really do serious damage, but Morocco was the master of that. He could do it. So, but the first fall, he tagged Fuji, comes in. Andre tags Balomo. Balomo and Fuji are running the ropes. Fuji gets him. He does that side suplex, and it looks like that's a son of a bitch. 11 minutes, 35 seconds, and they got Balomo pinned. And, Rose is jumping up and down. They're all happy. It's like, yeah, hey, we're going to beat beat the giant. It's like, okay, let's see what happens. Ring the bell for the third fall. All the heels, they're destroying Bellomo. Fuji comes in, he suplexes him again, but he picks him up with the 2 count. Slap him, no pin. When he picks up Bellomo for a slam, Snuka dives off the top rope with a drop kick. Bellomo's on top of Fuji. 2 minutes, 18 seconds, they get the pin. And the whole place is, if Jimmy Snuka dropped his trunks and took a shit, they'd applaud. He was too over. It was unbelievable. It's like he could do no wrong, and rightfully so. I mean, you talk about the turn. We've said this before. The face turn is so hard. Doing it the other way around, depending on who you do it. When Arion, his was great. When other people have done it, it would just like my V. It was great. But to be a heel to go to a face, that's tough. Pat did it, but when Snuka did it, it was kind of like, I think after the leap off the cage with Backlund, I think they sat down and they said, you know what? This guy is just too popular. We got to change him. We got to turn him. There's gold in them, their trunks. This guy can do it. So, and they were right. So then this next pin that came up, it's just wild. Snuka and Buddy Rose running the ropes, and then Snuka got that. He hooks Buddy Rose as he's like under him, but he hooks him and takes him down, and he gets the 3 count. And it's like Buddy Rose is like, no, can't be. Another underrated guy. He got his main events with Backlund everywhere. He ran the circuit with him, even Baltimore and the Capitol Center. And it's like the Garden, the Spectrum, all over the place. But it seemed like he was strong, and then all of it just that quick, like a balloon, the air went out. But he was a good worker. And like Backlund used to say, you can't judge the book by the cover, because you look at Buddy Rose and you think, that guy, that fat bastard, but he had stamina, and nobody could work those ropes. Like when Pedro would throw him to the corner and Buddy Rose, it almost looked like his face hits that cap on the top of the ring post. And I mean, he could do it like nobody else. Yeah. So final pinfall of the night, Andre slammed Buddy Rose, and then he gave him the foot off the ropes. Snuka gets splash and pin, or Andre the splash and pin, 2 minutes, 29 seconds. And what he did was he rammed the Buddy Rose with the Jimmy Snuka's head, and then he gave him the splash and the pin, and that was it. Everybody went home happy, thrilled, orgasmic. Nobody, they would sell beer at the arenas, and sometimes it got a little bit wild. I'll say that, because give Don Morocco credit. There was a cage match with Tony Atlas in Baltimore. They were on last, and that was they make a big deal about Snuka jumping off the top of the cage. Morocco did it that night. He had done it in Boston first against Backlund, December the 5th, top of the cage. It wasn't that big a deal. He played it that he was hurt, but then he still got up and finished the match in Baltimore too. But then Tony Atlas actually climbed out of the ring, went all about his business and left. But a fan tried to get into the cage. He had a knife. And Morocco's like, come on. He started backing up, but he didn't make it. The second cage match of the night occurred when the guards got a hold of the guy. Oh, my God, did he eat that cage? And rightfully so. Rightfully so. They pinned him up against the outside, and they just pummeled the bastard.
Good.
Look like you would do with one of those potato graters, Like Blassie always used to say, like George Steele was going to do the Backlund. He's going to take him this side. He's going to break your face against it. Ain't going to be nothing left. Your skin's going to be all over the ring. And it's like, well, they pretty much did it to that asshole that night. So that was good. So there you go, everybody. we were kind to you tonight. 1 hour and 14 minutes. I know we slide off the tracks a little bit, but hey, you got to love the music. You got to love the other stories. It's all part of the experience.
Well, yeah. I mean, we're literally going back in the day, and you remember all that stuff.
Yes, and then look, we were lucky. I've said it 1,000 times, but I'll say it 1,000 more. I mean, because sometimes people say, "Gee, Nikita, you came along too late. What if you'd have been around back then?" I said, I don't care. I'm lucky enough to be able to do what I've done. I'm glad that I was a fan. I'm happier that I experienced it that way first. That was beyond words.
It happened the way it was supposed to happen.
Yes. My wife Victoria says all the time, I wish I could have been there live. She said, one thing I do envy you were there. I said, yeah. And when you'd hear a body slam, it sounded like thunder. Oh, nothing like being live at the crowd. There was a smell, not an odor, but a smell in the air. It was just great. Vince even said it. I missed this when I mentioned it when he talked about, and it's coming up March the 1st, when Bruno wrestled Larry the first time at the Spectrum. We may talk about that. I'm not going to let it out of bag, but that may be coming up. But Vince said, talking to Dick Graham, play-by-play, Vince was doing the color. He said, it's just something, wrestling night. There's excitement. It just, the fevered pitch, it builds to that evening. People come out in snowstorms. They come out no matter what. And the buildings were usually full. I mean, even going back the 70s, I think was the turning point. It was, the 60s was good, but there were times when a headlock would go 10 minutes. Thank God I wasn't part of that. And it's like where the 70s came along, it was rogue, but yet refined. It would be wild, but yet you still had an athletic contest. So, and then as we got into the 80s, but with that 10-man tag, my God, a couple of people commented on my Facebook page. It's like, what a great way that year started. And boy, what a crash and burn at the end. It's like, yeah, we saw the sands run out of the hourglass for 1983, and that was that. And like the witch on the Wizard of Oz, and then that was it. We were dead. We were the ones that died. Hey, some people think Hulkamania was the greatest thing they'd ever witnessed. More power to you. I'll never badmouth wrestling, but I just preferred this without a doubt.
Give me SD and the Baron any day.
Yeah, maybe them. I'd give you couple $100 to see. Boy, and both just wonderful gentlemen, great guys. They respected what we, the people, were laying down our hard-earned money to come and watch them, and they knew, okay, give people all that you got. And that's it.
And we went home happy.
Yes. And now we're going to send you guys home happy.
All right. Well, let me end this with my traditional poem.
Please.
Another great card from MSG. They served up great matches for you and for me. We sure hated Gomer. Boy, what a heel in those glorious days when it was real. Good night, our dear friends.
Just for that.